Good morning, my fellow beauty and barber professionals. Good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and I have the Mr. Mikey Bentz joining me this morning. Good morning, Mr. Mikey. Good morning.
Good morning, Tamara. It's such an honor to be here with you. I always love being on camera, on audio, on Clubhouse way back when we first met. So it is going to be a whirlwind of a conversation today. For those who don't know me, I'm Mikey with two E's, also known as Metro Mikey on all social media platforms. The two E's in my name stand for the environment and everyone, the two things that I care about most. I'm a business owner, salon owner, eco warrior, sustainability advocate, slightly an educator, and dance studio owner, and a whole big ball of entrepreneurship. So I feel called and qualified to talk about all of our topics today. So, Tamara, why don't we just dive into it? What's up?
Yes. So you and I started this conversation on the heels of 2024, like we're moving into 2025 here. And you and I started this conversation about our industry, the root of me, for those of you that already know me, just and those of you that don't. I was a nail tech for 18 years. I owned a salon for 10 years. I am the lead advocate for the concerned beauty and barber professionals, the lead advocate for politics, beauty, and barber. So we address policy state to state that affects the beauty and barber industry, and we work to elevate our industry with higher standards and continuing education around health and safety. So we are very intentional about our work. And moving into our conversation, Mikey, you and I were talking about the industry and the problems that we have, and we know the problems, right? We're very clear that we have some industry issues, and I don't think you know, we're the only industry with issues, right? I don't believe that to be the case. However, I just see us as such a viable industry, such an important industry to the life and of many people. And many of our professionals just kind of sit back on this industry, kind of are too relaxed in what's happening all around us.
This is quite accurate, Tamara. I have been in the industry for 15 years. I have been licensed for over 13 years. I've been a salon owner for over 11 years now. Oh, time flies. You know, back when them dinosaurs were roaming around is when I got started. So I have been able to like come of age, if you will, through a lot of the largest transitions in our industry. And while some of those were good, I just gave a class yesterday in my beauty school, and they said, "How would you market yourself, or how did you market yourself when you graduated, Mikey?" And I was like, "Well, Instagram hadn't even been invented." So I took my pretty little business cards, of which I have right here, and I went out and handed them to people in the grocery store, in on the sidewalk. I try to smile and say hello to everyone, even if they're not receptive to my charisma and generosity. But I would, see people and try to talk to the people who I knew would just be a good fit for me. And that doesn't really happen anymore. We've gone through the advent of Instagram and Facebook, marketing, and all the social media platforms that we have now. We have Google and Yelp for reviews, and we have gone through 2020, the worldwide, pandemic, which upended everything that we had transitioned into. So now we had to start fresh with new, marketing and advertising and entrepreneurship skills. And now there's artificial intelligence, which is flipping everything else on its head. So it's like the beauty industry was a certain way for a long period of time. I remember hearing stories about how a lot of nail technicians got started from World War II. There were camps out in California where the Asian American citizens were rounded up, and the president's wife, the first lady at the time, went out there and was like, "We need to do something, this is not right." So that's where a lot of the nail technicians came from, that we would assume like transition to modern day nail technicians. So from 1940s until the advent of social media and the internet, things went the same way. People knew your barber shop was where you would go to talk politics, and people knew that your hair salon was where you'd go sit under the dryer, catch up on your magazines, smoke your cigarettes like they all did back in the day. What a foreign concept. And so that was just the standard of beauty in the US. And that translated into worldwide for decades. And from the 2000s until now, almost 2025, everything has changed, but 5 times in a row.
Mhm.
So the standard that I think a lot of people have in their mind, especially us older folks, is not really the standard that we need to be championing going into the future. And it's going to take a lot of hard work to, number one, accept that we need to change and accept that things need to change. And then it's going to be even more hard work to be accountable, to get up, get off the couch, stop scrolling through social media, and go out and change the things that need to be changed. So that's just kind of my general overview of that topic, Tamara. What do you think?
Oh gosh, you gave me a lot there. So dive back in. Let's talk about the first step is recognizing that you said things need to change. That first step. I think we're at step one. We can't even do two and three, Mikey, because we're so stuck. We're at step one.
So, little side story, because I can go on long side stories, but I'll make this a little side story. My dance studio, which I opened 3 years ago, is called Metropolis. Metropolis was Superman's hometown. That was where he was born and raised. Um, my dance studio is like Cirque du Soleil, aerial arts focused, and all we do is fly through the air. So I call my students my superheroes. I tell my students, my superheroes, all the time that our number one superpower is not flipping upside down, not flying through the air, not x ray vision. It is self awareness. If I don't know what I'm thinking, I don't know where I'm going. If I don't know what I'm feeling, I have no control over my emotions. If I don't know where I exist in time and space, what am I actually doing? So, knowing who I am, for me, I had to put it in my name because I'm a natural blonde, even though I have no hair right now. So, I forget who I am all the time, just like many of you, I'm sure. So I'm Mikey with two E's. I care about the environment and everyone. When I wake up, I'm like, oh, I'm Mikey with two E's. I care about the environment and everyone. I am self aware enough to know if I'm going to make a choice, like using my phone on dark mode because it saves up to 30% of the battery. So I can charge my phone with the solar panels that I'm broadcasting with renewable energy. Uh, then I'm doing my call to action. I am actually living who I am. But if I don't know who I am, how do I live that way? So that is why self-awareness is my number one superpower. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. I love that. And I just think that so many of our professionals don't recognize their maybe their individual superpowers and don't understand it as a collective. I think when we understand in how great we are as individuals in this industry and what that can look like as a collective, that becomes our mega superpowers.
Could you imagine an army of superhero hairstylists marching on Washington? Like,
Yes.
what a sight that would be.
Yes, I can imagine it. Yes, I can imagine it. And that is a dream of mine.
It would be an unstoppable force, in my opinion.
Oh, just the thought of that. And I don't think we recognize again, if we come together as a collective, the impact we can make not only on our industry, because I think that's where we have to start as a collective, but then how that branches off like a tree, right? All these branches now, things that you care about, like you said, everyone in the environment, you have so many lanes, there's so many things you could do beyond just what we could do together.
And there I have done, I don't just, you know, sit here on recordings and streams and educational platforms. I don't come here just kind of talking the talk. I walk the walk. I have gone through a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, hit a couple rock bottoms. I have failed many times, but I love shifting the perspective and calling it failing forward is when I fall forward, I'm still going forward. So I fail forward. I have done the work. I have sought out my mentors. I have paid for business coaches. I have spent exorbitant amounts on therapy, which I truly believe is just a life-changing practice. Life coaches are a great alternative, motivational speakers, although by 2025, hopefully when people are consuming this content, the motivational speakers have kind of become a little blasé because everyone decided were going to be a motivational speaker. So whatever that person in your life is that you can bounce ideas off, that you can call your support community, your friends, your family, your therapist, all of those people are who I sought out and I did the hard work and I dove deep. A caveat for people who are confused about what a life coach is versus what a therapist is, my best and simplest answer, and I think that both of these things are important. It's important to have a therapist because they are qualified to undo or to dive into some of the past, where your life coach is going to be goal oriented. They want to take you to your future. I would not talk about traumatic issues with your life coach. And you can talk about like anything with your therapist. They're trained to work in the head, where we're trained to work on the head. So people are like, Mikee, you're my therapist. I'm like, no, 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 no. I will be your life coach in a heartbeat, but I am not qualified to go back and undo some of the stuff that's happened. But with self awareness, with a good support group, with a good therapist, we can then figure out who we are and talk with a life coach, a mentor, a spouse, an educator about where we want to go.
Mhm. I just believe 2025 is the year of intention. That's what's been in my spirit. This is the year where we have to be very intentional because the world is, like you say, changing so fast. And AI, and I like technology, but it kind of scares me to a bit because I feel like it could take us too far, too fast. And I'm just hopeful that people will do just what you said, like with the business cards. Let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the simpler things. Let's get back to connecting with each other. Let's get back to, that one-on-one, these relationships, these real relationships, not digital, not virtual, but genuine, true, physical, real relationships.
I love our industry because uh, we are one of the very, very special industries where not only do we get to have personalized human interaction, but we also have the great responsibility and great honor to touch people.
Mhm.
I know many people who have been in relationships for 50, 60 years, and their spouse has never washed their hair. Their
Mhm.
spouse has never disinfected their hands before they put on an acrylic or a gel set. They have never touched people in the way that we are honored to touch people. And that is something like if your spouse doesn't have it, what kind of a great connection are we building with the amazing clients and guests in our lives? So I just try to remember that. And concerning AI and technology and all the changes, we are just in such a weird time right now, which as a millennial, I feel like my whole life it's been like 2001, great tragedy happened. Oh, this is unprecedented times. And then, the weird natural disasters starting, in the early 2000s, followed by the great financial crisis, followed by the world is ending in 2012, followed by all the politics that happened in the 20 teens, followed by a global pandemic, followed by artificial. It's just, my entire adult life has been unprecedented times. I'm like, can I get some precedented times for once in my life? But my point is, we all have been able to manage and cope and survive and thrive through all of these unprecedented times. So, when I think about all the days that I've been alive versus all the times that I have failed, the days that I have been alive and triumphing and thriving and winning way outnumber all of the bad times. So that gives me hope and motivation to get through these weird times because with artificial intelligence, something that I am familiar with and aware of is how amazing the organic and sustainable agriculture process is going to be when we don't have um, a lot of human error when it comes to when do we water our crops? Do we need pesticides? Most times we don't need pesticides. So we're going to have a lot of extra technology that is going to make our ecosystem friendlier, that is going to make our agriculture more sustainable, that is going to be able to recycle at a level that we have never seen before. There's so many problems right now with the things that I champion, sustainability and as an eco warrior, that are going to be solved by the power of technology and the power of artificial intelligence. We just have to keep pushing forward until we get there. We will get there one day.
That's encouraging. And that's how that's a great way to kind of end this conversation is how we are going to get there. We're going to get there. And I just believe it starts with our individual work, like you just mentioned, but then it evolves into our collective power. And that's where those of us who are members of the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals, Politics, Beauty and Barber, we're very intentional. I have been literally trying to gather the industry for over a decade. And I know movement building and creating infrastructure is a lot of work. I've been totally committed to it. And this is where we do the work internally inside of our organization. We pay attention to policy. We're, again, very intentional about health and safety, keeping ourselves safe, keeping our clients safe. That is our number one. And as a professional, that was my number one. I used to tell people, Mikee, that I did services, but that wasn't my biggest selling feature. I did really good services. But you know, and I know that when people feel safe, they will, I don't care if you might not do the best services, but if they feel safe in your environment and safe with you and your health and their health is a high concern, oh, they'll stick with you and ride with you until the wheels fall off, won't they?
That is absolutely true. I am still to this day servicing clients that I met in beauty school.
That says a lot. That says a lot. They were committed to, your learning and they can appreciate I know that they appreciate is the fact that you're committed to being your best for them.
And I'm always trying to elevate it and up the ante, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
So
people,
let
go
me
ahead.
flip it over to you,
Yeah.
Tamara. What do you see was our biggest challenge from 2024, and what do you hope for in 2025?
Oh, 2024. Oh my gosh. It was the year, Mikee, where I feel like we've watched, we've been trying to hold our industry together, trying to elevate us. But 2024 was the year where we lost a bill in Georgia, but we'd already lost this bill in 5 other states, SB 354, that now allows individuals, anybody can open a shampoo, blow dry, styling bar with no licensure. And that's just such a detriment because you understand health and safety, and we've been trained. We understand how to keep people safe. But just imagine now that people can walk into an establishment, a legal business, and get services that these individuals were never had any formal training in. I mean, just the health and safety concerns around that. So we've lost now in 6 states, and it's just heartbreaking. So for me, 2024 was a gut punch. I feel like we took a blow, but I'm not giving up. We're coming back next year. We have an opportunity to address this legislation, and we're definitely going to take full advantage of it. But then we're also watching this new federal administration come in. Like, what is that going to look like around health and safety? And this is where, when you talk about, Mikee, us coming together and collaborating and being an army and being a force to be reckoned with, every industry needs to represent in 2024 on a federal level. Every industry needs to represent. It'll be very different. The administration has different goals and objectives and an agenda. And whatever that needs to look like, we need to have a voice, like my t-shirt, my voice in legislation. We need to have a voice in this legislation. We need to have we need to be a collective force. So 2024 was rough. It was rough, but I'm encouraged by 2025, and I'm just hopeful that beauty and barber professionals will see the power of us our collective power.
Well, I hope for that too. And like we were talking about, that gigantic mob of superhero hairdressers, on the steps of
Mm.
our great nation's capital is so moving and so powerful. However, one of my favorite statistics from 2023 into 2024 is that um, a lot of the private companies and corporations, no matter which administration is coming or going, are starting to implement standard operating procedures, which help public health, safety, and welfare, and economic health, safety, and what, I'm sorry, eco friendly safety and welfare.
Mhm.
I believe that it is going to be so powerful when we have a united industry, licensed united industry, uh, affecting change positively in policy and everything. But we will never, ever, ever have to wait for the government to tell us what to do, what is right. I do that every day in my salon. Tamara, you do that every day in your own life. There are many, many professionals who I know who do that without being told to or needing to be forced to. And I do believe that the future is a beautiful blend of, our governments, local, state, and federal, doing the best that they can with the knowledge that we help provide.
Mhm.
But I also see a future where we're just doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And for those who don't know, something that I've been trying to reiterate to everyone is that E in my name, the first E, is for the environment. Because if we don't have an environment, we have no social media to distribute content. We have no recording operations to talk like you and I are doing, Tamara. We have no air to breathe to fill our lungs to argue about politics, no matter who we choose. We have no food and water and energy. The whole world just goes dark without our ecosystem, biodiversity, sustainability. So that's why it's always going to be number one. Once we take care of the environment, heck, we can argue about everything till the cows come home.
Mhm.
So that is why it is my number one. And people need to realize that not only is there an actual life cost, if we don't have an environment, we don't have life, but there's an economic cost. All the things that we love to do, all the creature comforts, our commodities, our iPhones, our Androids, our laptops, our social media, our TikTok scrolling, our canvas for painting, our guitars for playing music, all of those things will not be able to be produced if we don't have an environment where we can harvest the resources. You need wood to make a guitar. You don't have a forest? Guess what? There's no guitars. So then the Guitar Center goes out of business. And then we have a huge hole in our economy where all the guitar centers are now out of business. And all those people now need new jobs. And oh, everything else is failing. They don't have any jobs available. So it's this downward spiral. If we don't take care of our environment, our economy globally will fail, as well as us just not being able to breathe, drink water, or eat food. So we need to take care of our environment to be able to take care of everything else.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, that's so good, Mikey. You had a quote that I asked you to save and read. Do you have
Uh,
it? It was
I do. We were talking about um off air we were talking about some of the problems that we see, and I am just so much an advocate for personal self-awareness and personal accountability that this quote stuck out to me. Um, and it stuck out to me because I feel like we're in some of these times that maybe a little uh, less than pleasant to talk about. And the quote was, hard times create hard men, women, non binary, whatever. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And so we were talking about how it's cyclical, and we have been in such a state of prosperity and comfort and complacency, which is one of my most feared words in the English language. I always want to be content. I never want to be complacent. I never want to sit on my couch and feel like there's not more to do. It is good to rest. It is good to have wonderful mental health care, self care practices. It is not great to be complacent. We get one life, and we have been a little bit too soft on ourselves currently, in my opinion. And this is only my opinion. I never want to speak for anybody else here. When we are a little too soft on ourselves, maybe we get a little spoiled, or maybe spoil our children a little. That is what creates these weird, weird times where we don't know up from down, we don't know right from wrong, and we don't have clear, defined global goals to work towards. And I feel like every day that I ask somebody, "Oh, what do you want? What is your 1 year goal?" They look at me like I'm a train shooting out of the tunnel and the light is coming right at them. And I'm like, well, I would love to help you get to where you're going. That's my job as a life coach. But if we don't know where you're going, if we don't know what you want, I can't tell you what you want. That's absolutely like, one, I'm not in your brain. And two, how rude of me. But if somebody tells me what they want, if our world could come together and just pick one goal, then we could all work together to get there. And so, going right back to our self awareness, we need to know what we want.
Mm. Ah, this was so good, Mikey. I know we didn't save the world, but
Yet,
yet, right? But heck, we're gonna try to save our industry, save ourselves individually, save us collectively, so that we can be such a beacon of light for this world and the work that needs to be done right here in this country. So I just want to say thank you, Mikey, for being all that you are and being the wonderful person that you are, because it's going to take all of us to do this heavy lifting.
and I'm hoping that this resonates with a lot of people. Now, granted, I know that our attention spans are shorter now, so people might have already turned us off at the
Pray not.
10-second mark. If you made it this far, we love connecting. Reach out to me, reach out to Tamara, reach out to the concerned beauty and barber professionals, join the group, become an advocate. Um, because I would love to be back for another conversation with you, Tamara, and I would love to save the world with you.
Yes, look, we're all we got. So stay tuned, everybody. Mikey and I are coming back. We're gonna like pay attention to what's going on around us in this industry so we can come back and talk very specifically about some of the things that we're seeing so that we can hit some of these nails right on the head and get
And hopefully we can come back and talk about the things that you all want to talk about. Because look, I'm sure you and I could fill a 10-hour recording, Tamara, but we don't want to talk to hear ourselves talk. We want to talk to help people. We want to talk to change the world for the better. And so that's going to take us all working together, y'all figuring out what you want and then telling us so we can help you get there.
Amen. Look, stay tuned, everybody. This is going to get good in 2025. Mikey, my friend, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone. And hopefully you will see us all on the next installment.
Yes, stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. Have a great one, everyone.